Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to your Finances in Focus Live. My name is Ivy, and I'm so excited to be joined again for this quarter with my colleague and work friend, Ilsa. Ilsa is from our fraud department. She has a wealth of knowledge that she's going to share with us today. We had a chance to speak with Ilsa a few months ago as we were walking through these unprecedented times on just some of the fraud trends and scams that we're seeing tick up during the past few months. And Ilsa has agreed to share some of that with us again. So first, I want to say hello, Ilsa, and welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Ivy. I'm excited to be here again and rock away.
All right. Well, we're going to jump right in. I did send Ilsa a couple of questions. As always, if you have questions in the audience as you're viewing, feel free to type them in our chat box and follow along. Feel free to share this message with anyone that you feel could benefit from this information. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things briefly. I've asked Ilsa to share with us a couple of fraud trends or scams that maybe we're seeing continue to uptake during these times as we continue to battle COVID, tax season, stimulus checks, etc. She's going to share those with us as well as a few tips, things to keep in mind to protect ourselves. And then we're going to switch gears briefly as we close out. But first, let's jump right into those couple of scams or fraud trends that you may be seeing as we continue through these times. What are some things you could share with us?
Certainly, Ivy. So I would say that, I'll give you the top three that are on our
Okay.
list. And sweetheart scams, obviously, are number one on our list. Those I think don't even fade away, and even more with the times that we're living now, because people are at home, so they're lonely, and they fall for this type of scam. So one thing that I would make sure that the viewers are very aware of is that this is the fraudster's job. This is what they do 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 365 days a year. So, I think that the most important thing here is making sure that that you're aware of these situations, and the fraudsters have their ways. So they have you enticed, and in addition to you, they've got a slew of other people enticed as well in a different stage of his process, right? Of enticing you. So once they have reached the right moment, then that's when they basically do their hit and they ask for the money. And of course, this relationship has been going on for a while. I'm not talking a day or two. I'm talking this takes months. And once the fraudster feels that he has gained your trust and confidence, then he starts asking for the money, and that's where then the members fall and start sending out money and doing crazy things. So
Wow.
that I think is probably the one that we see the most. In addition to that, I would say that in this particular time, and again, due to COVID, we see so much fraud associated with the state unemployment benefits. And the way this works, so let's just say, Ivy, that you have for some reason, and you don't even know that your social security number, your name, and your date of birth and other personal information has been stolen. You have no clue.
Okay.
So fraudsters have ways of finding this information. They already have secured with another person, another victim, and it doesn't have to be at your credit union. It could be at another financial institution elsewhere. They already have a person lined up where the funds that they ask for are going to go. So they apply for unemployment benefits in your name. They are going to go to another financial institution, you as the beneficiary, but the person receiving the funds on the other side is not Ivy. It is who knows.
Whomever.
And then the fraudster goes ahead and says, so for doing this favor for me, for letting me have these deposit, they either say it's for a loan or for anything, but they do not tell that other individual where the funds are going into. What are the source of the funds, the exact source of the funds. So we have seen this so much now in this time. And again, it's understanding that, you know what, if somebody asks you to use your account to deposit money because they don't have an account or whatever the situation might be, that is a huge red flag.
Yeah.
And I think that something else that has become very common recently, and actually my husband had one last night, a threatening call indicating that,
Yes.
hey, we understand that if you're supposed to be paying X amount, and we can get this out for you. You just need to give us this amount of money, and we'll make sure that you're not taken away by the sheriff. Come on.
Right.
These are things that this is not the way that law enforcement works. That and enticing emails offering you money for lottery winnings or things of the sort. And my gosh, if you go to your email on a daily basis, I get tons of these in my spam, and I just immediately empty my spam and delete them because people fall for these. If it looks so good, chances are it's too good to be true. So I would
Awesome.
say that
Wow.
those are probably the three most that we're seeing the most in these times.
Okay, so I just want to recap what you said. You had sweetheart scams where it is what it says. There's this relationship and this comfort and trust built, and over time, through that trust built, the fraudster um, convinces the individual to start to send them money or to do something financial
Mhm.
that puts them in a compromised position. You've got unemployment related scams where individuals are stealing social security numbers and information and really ultimately getting benefits sent to
Yep.
you, but not you because it's going somewhere else, but in your
Mhm.
name. And then you mentioned threatening phone calls. I actually have gotten a call here recently, the IRS,
Mhm.
that, hey, you owe money, and again,
Yep.
the sheriff, and um, you will be arrested if you don't take care of this, but we could help you take care of it very quickly for, a small fee. And it's kind of like you said, come on, the police departments nor the IRS communicate in those ways. And so, um,
Absolutely.
wow, those are three good ones. And then you mentioned another enticing one, which is all these emails that we seem to be inundated with, providing offers that are seemingly really good. And a lot of times, Ilsa, what I noticed about those emails, they're often emails that are selling or offering something to us that
Mhm.
maybe we've looked up or that we've shown interest in another way. And so it adds to
That's
that whole
correct.
questioning of, is this valid or not? And so,
Mhm.
what tip could you offer with all of those in mind to help individuals avoid falling prey to any or all of those types of fraud scams?
So I would say that first and foremost, and I think that I just really can't say this enough. No matter how legitimate something might seem to be, never, never, never give out your personal identifying information. And by that, I mean your social security number, your date of birth, your full name, and to that respect, also your account information and your online credentials to be able to go online. Nobody needs to have that information except you.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably be one of the things that I would say. Once you give out your information, um, chances are that you will become a victim of what we call account takeover. And what that means is that the fraudster then has all the information they need to be able to access your account online. They make all sorts of changes, then they start draining your account. And by the time you figure it out, it's too late. The money is gone. So, your financial institution or somebody that is legitimate is not going to ask for any kind of that information. They have no use of getting into your
Right.
online banking for anything. So that's number one. Number two, if the offer is so enticing that it's good to be true, chances are that it's exactly that. It's too good to be true. It's likely a scam. Don't fall for it. And the other thing that I would say is that we have seen a lot of cases where members call in saying, hey, I got a call from so and so indicating that they were from Wright-Patt Credit Union fraud. And so and so, and we're like, well, chances are that we really don't have that person on our staff. So, if somebody calls in identifying themselves as Wright-Patt Credit Union, whether it's fraud or another department, and they're asking for information, the best thing you can do is, you know what, I am going to go ahead and call my financial institution. Thank you for calling me and letting me know. hang up and call the credit union to find out whether that's legitimate or not. But again, nobody from the credit union or from Visa for that matter, because we do have Visa that makes calls to verify some transactions, but they are never going to ask you for your personal information regarding your account with the credit union. So those are the three things that I would say are what you really need to look for.
Okay. And you brought up a good point. If you do get that phone call, and I've even shared that with people, if you get an email, hang up and call the organization directly, call the financial institution directly. If you get an
Absolutely.
email, delete it. If you think that it's a
Yep.
reputable email, go to the website directly and deal with the resource directly. Don't click through, but delete, hang up, and reach out directly, I think
Yep.
is kind of the tip that comes to mind from what you shared.
And Ivy, if I can, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If
Sure,
I can
no, you're
just
fine.
let you know another thing that is critical here, and you just mentioned it. For example, the person that's calling will call this number. No, don't call that number.
No.
That's what they want you to do. They want you to call that number back. So either do a Google search on that number, or again, call your financial institution. That's your best bet.
Yep. As we switch gears on here, one other audience that tends to be victimized, not only now in the pandemic, but all year round. We hear a lot about our elderly, our golden aged family members and friends. And so I wanted to ask you if there are any trends specifically that you are seeing with them that you could share with us, as again, family members, friends of those, or as individuals ourselves, that we should be aware of, and any tips you can offer for our elderly family members and friends specifically.
Certainly. So I think that we all know that the golden generation, and again, I'm part of that golden generation. Um, i- these individuals are very trusting,
Mhm.
and they don't think that anybody is going to do them harm or anybody is going to do them wrong, and that's probably the first thing that I would say that for family members that are caring for an elder parent. Or an elder family member, I think that they need to be more sympathetic to the fact that, hey, that's the nature of this older generation. They're very trusting, and so it becomes difficult for that individual, the older member or the older individual, to actually um, recognize that they have been scammed or they're being victimized by this. So,
Yes.
we have to walk a very thin line in terms of being able to help our elders without invading in their space and them feeling embarrassment. So, but elders fall for all these type scams, computer scams. Oh my gosh, all the time, and they give out their credentials, and then they end out having to do close the account and reopen it because they've given out their credentials and they don't understand what has happened. So I would say that and telephones is the most that elders fall for. Um,
Okay.
and that includes your lottery winnings and things of the sort. So um, I think that the younger generation, I think, needs to realize that, and don't be hard on your elders. I mean, they have a wealth of knowledge, and they were different times, and so as a result of that, we need to be sensitive to that and
Yes.
be able to deal with the situation in a way that they can understand and that they don't feel that that um, they're being a burden, basically.
Yeah.
So.
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of times it is a thin line to tread with wanting to be helpful, wanting to be supportive, wanting to even kind of protect and question, but to not do it in a way that creates embarrassment or pushes on someone's pride a little bit,
Yeah,
as
exactly.
they in many cases are still independent and independent of thought and able. So I think that was a great tip that you brought up. But just having conversation, right? Having open conversation
Hmm.
and trying to have conversation about the things that are out there so that there's an awareness is really important. So for those that have just jumped on, we talked about a couple of things today. I asked my good friend Ilsa to share with us a couple of fraud trends that we're seeing as we continue through this pandemic environment, and just in general, with technology on the rise. She shared with us about sweetheart scams, being aware of those, about unemployment scams, those are on the rise, as well as different scams and enticing opportunities that come through your email. We also talked just now for a few minutes about scams and different things that are hitting our elderly, and the importance of having conversations with our golden generation, but doing it with a sensitivity that does not lead to embarrassment. And so that's what we were talking about today as we were catching up on the conversations and topic of fraud. If you want to learn more about this topic, Wright-Patt Credit Union does have a space on our website where we share a plethora of information about what we talked about today, as well as all kinds of other fraud topics. You can find that at www.wpcu.coop/stop fraud. So again, go check that out. It offers a lot of information and details on some of the topics we talked about today, as well as additional information. We also are always trying to keep things posted here in our social media on the different trends that we're seeing, any alerts that we're receiving. The ftc.gov is also a great resource to help with keeping you up to date and on track with the different fraud trends that are out there. You can actually set up as a consumer to receive updates and alerts for yourself. So I encourage you all to do that. Ilsa, before we close out, is there anything else you want to share with the audience today? Anything that we may have missed or that came to mind after the fact?
Sure, I would say for all our viewers, be aware. The fraudsters are out there lurking and looking for their next victim. And, if you take this information and the information that we have posted on our website to heart, you can avoid becoming a victim. So stay safe, be warm, and fight fraud.
I love it. Stay safe, be warm, be aware, fight fraud. We can all do it together. Ilsa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody that's viewing, I want to thank you for joining us for Finances in Focus Live. We appreciate you coming to watch today. Again, feel free to share this message. Visit our website, the Stop Fraud section, to learn more, and stay tuned. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.